The next topic is self-monitoring. Self-monitoring is the ability to both observe and evaluate one's behavior. We spontaneously interrupt our speech and correct ourselves. These corrections are referred to as self-repairs. Self-monitoring is what people do semi-automatically and semi-consciously when they are speaking or giving lectures for that matter. So when they are talking or giving a talk or lecture, majority of the or the most of the mental activity is focused on the talk or the lecture. But one part of the mental activity is concerned with how am I doing? Am I going too fast? Are people with me? Are they enjoying it or are they bored? So this kind of process where you are engaged to look at your own talk and making deliberations is what we consider self-monitoring. There are 4 components: monitoring of speech, number 2 is error detection, number 3 is self-interruption, and number 4 is self-correction. According to Levold, self-repairs have a characteristic structure that consists of 3 parts. The first is that we interrupt ourselves after we have detected an error in our speech. Second is we usually utter one of various editing expressions. Finally, we repair the utterance. So second is when we are uttering or usually utter one of various editing expression. These include terms such as sorry, I mean, obviously, and so forth. And final stage is where we repair the utterance. We have a study which was conducted by Noteboom on self-interruptions, and he examined a corpus of 648 speech errors, and he suggests that the timing of self-interruption after detection of an error is based on 2 competing forces. Now he found that 415, which is 64% of the errors, were corrected. Now some errors were more likely to be corrected than others, and anticipation were corrected more often than the perseveration. Now looking at these, we need to understand what do we mean by anticipation error and perseveration error. Anticipation error occur when a sound from a later syllable replaces one from earlier syllable. For example, if somebody says take my bike, or the error could be bake my bike, where the syllable replaces one from the earlier syllable. Perseveration error occurs when subject repeats item that she has already said on a recall portion of the memory task. Now Levold used somewhat different procedure than the Noteboom. He used the procedure where students were shown color pattern. They were then asked to describe the patterns beginning at the nod indicated by an arrow, in which a way that another person hearing is a tape recorded version of the description would able to draw. The main advantage of this approach relative to the study happened before is the greater degree of experimental control. So experimental control was there, and it was there in a greater degree. Levold found that 18% of the correction were within a word, as in sentence 17, which says we can go straight on to the ye to the orange node, straight on to green, to red, and from green left to pink, or from blue left to pink. Thus, although the speech tasks studied by level differed substantially from spontaneous speech errors examined by Nussbaum, the results of the two studies again appear to be quite similar to each other. To conclude, speakers routinely monitor their utterances to ensure that they are saying what they wanted to and in the way they wanted to. When errors are detected, speakers interrupt their speech nearly immediately and begin editing their utterances.